What's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Chili Wolfpack Podcast, Worship Wednesday edition. I am your host, Ian Wolf, and today we'll be reading through the book of Matthew. Our discussion is how to pray. So this is Matthew chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. After each verse, I'm going to stop and I'm going to elaborate on each verse. So let's learn how to pray better. Let's learn how to have a genuine heart. Matthew chapter 6, verse 5. Whenever you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, because they love to pray standing in the synagogues and on the street corners to be seen by people. Truly, I tell you, they have their reward. When it says standing in the synagogues or on the street corners, this implies that the people are in a public place. They have a human audience, and they are doing this to be seen. It says to be seen by people, but that is the only reward that they get. Move on to verse 6, where it says, "But when you pray, go into your private room, shut your door, and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." When it says your Father, it's referring to God. Now notice the difference here between verse 5, the person who is in the synagogue, so that would be like a church or a temple, or on the street corner in a public place, they're doing it, versus verse 6, go into your private room, shut your door. Other translations say your bedroom, but verse 6, there is no human audience. No one is watching you. This is just one-on-one time with you and God. Move on to verse 7. When you pray, don't babble like the Gentiles, since they imagine they'll be heard for their many words. Verse 8, don't be like them, because your Father knows the things you need before you ask him. So I'd like to read through some notes here. The true disciple prays for a heavenly audience rather than a human audience, and privacy is ideal for genuine prayer. And I really like that. So oftentimes I'll pray before meals, and if I'm with other people, I may say grace for all of us over that meal. And that's great. But I always notice that when I'm saying grace over a meal or something of that nature, and there's other people around, I always feel like a fraction of my prayer is sort of a performance. And I'm trying to word my prayer in a way that sounds good and resonates with the crowd that I'm with. And that's fine. And ultimately, the Lord knows where our heart is. But the prayer never feels as genuine or authentic as a prayer when I'm alone and it's just myself and the Lord. You know, some of the best prayers I have, it is in my bedroom, or it's when I'm going for a walk by myself, or maybe I'm driving in the car and I'm by myself. The point is, the best prayers that I have are the prayers when I'm alone, because it's genuine. Nothing I'm saying is to put on a performance and look good or sound good, because there's no one there to impress. It's just my personal relationship with God, and that's exactly what this is saying. It's not fabricated. Notes here says the disciple can encounter Jesus in the most obscure locations. Now, Jesus' words in this passage, it does not prohibit public prayer, but because public prayers are encouraged in the church, and a reference would be 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 26, public prayer within the church, it's highly encouraged. And the pastor at my church, I really like what he does. To kick off his sermon, he asks us to pray for the person next to us, asks for us to pray for him that the Holy Spirit will move through him and speak through him throughout his sermon, and that he may be clear and truthful. Now, with that said, we are praying in our heads there, but also too, whether it's him or it's one of the deacons or leaders, they'll pray aloud on the mic, for the church. So public prayer in the church, that's terrific. But in general, it's encouraging us to have our own personal relationship with the Lord. So, and you know what? Okay, about a month ago, I was with my girlfriend and we passed this homeless guy on the side of the road, and I'm always a little weary when I see people like that because I'm sure we all are. We know that some are genuine, some are not, but it's how do I know if I give them money or something, are they going to use that for good, or are they going to go buy drugs or their own fix, whatever, you, you know what I mean. But she had a great idea. There was a Seven Brew like right down the road, so she said, "Hey, why don't we go get him a lemonade?" So okay, so we went to Seven Brew, got him a lemonade, and then we went back. I got out the car, I gave it to the gentleman, and he was like pure joy, incredibly grateful. And I said, "Hey, excuse me, is it okay if I put my hand on your shoulder and I pray for you?" And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I prayed for him, I prayed over him, and then we had a great 5 minute conversation. I got to know him a little bit better, and why he was in the situation that he was in. So that was a very, very beautiful experience. So examples like that as well. Again, it's okay to pray aloud in front of other people. This passage is not saying that it's sinful to pray in front of other people. It's just the essence of this is, where is your heart's intentions? Excuse me. Where is your heart's intentions? Are you praying genuinely for a blessing, genuinely for that connection with the Lord? Or are you praying to put on a show and look good in front of other people? So, and last thing I'd like to note here is genuine and effective prayers. They can be quick, they can be longer. That's besides the point. The length of time doesn't really matter. Um, but it's just about the sincerity of it. And yeah, so to wrap things up, we were in the book of Matthew, chapter 6, verses 5 through 8. We discussed how to pray with a genuine heart, how to have more sincere and effective time with the Lord. Tied in a few practical examples. If you guys have any questions on how to pray, I trust that you'll seek help and find that. The last few years, since I've started to become a Christian, walk with the Lord, that's always been one of the biggest question marks for me is, God, am I praying right? Like, I don't know if I'm praying right. I mean, I'm talking to you. Part of me thinks I'm praying right, and part of me is like, am I not doing enough? Or so. Again, just take that up in prayer and ask a couple of spiritually wise people. Well, there you have it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this helped. I hope that this planted a seed or stirred something within you. And yeah, may you use this information ultimately to grow closer to the Lord, and then help someone else grow closer to the Lord. So thank you guys for tuning in to Worship Wednesday, and God bless.